All right. Welcome to This Week in Baseball Player Profiles as we profile Shannon Stewart from Miami Southridge and the Toronto Bluejays. How you doing today, Shannon?
I'm doing well, man. It's good to see you, Tono. Good to see you.
Good to see you. We're going to go over a few questions here, and then, we'll get your responses to this stuff. So talk to me about when you were growing up at baseball in Florida. What was that like in Miami for you growing up playing baseball?
Man, baseball here in Florida, man, was obviously it was good competition. The good thing about playing down here, you play all year round. So we played, winter, fall, summer. We playing all year.
Right.
The good thing is that the competition was so good. You were always trying to work on your game. Extra PP, lessons. We played the core league, as you know. Grew up, there was the Adams division, Mid Division, Juvenile division. Each division that we played in was tough. The core league was run really well. Had great players down here. So, I started when I was about 7 years old. My dad got me into the game, and from there, it just escalated. I fell in love with it, and it carried on through. I played every off season, every summer, every winter. I was playing baseball, and
right.
Got me there.
Yeah, back then they didn't have travel teams like they do now. Now everything's travel ball. So,
yeah, it's different.
So what would you get? There's always in the younger divisions, parents are always mad when their son's the outfielder. But explain to them how important that is that, playing different positions, because I know you did when we grew up together. But outfield, how important that was to learn that position at a young age.
Like you say, man, it's good to learn all the positions. When I was in Little League, I was a pitcher, played shortstop. I started off playing first base, moved to the outfield for the All-Star games. And I played a little bit of catcher, which I didn't like much, but I played a little bit. So, moving around, learning all the positions, it's good. It's good for each player to know, because you never know. Like when you go to high school, I was playing shortstop pretty much my whole Little League career. Then I go to high school, and they moved me to outfield. And I had played outfield. I played center before. I played a little bit of left. So I was acclimated with the position.
Right.
So what happens is, the more positions you know how to play, when a coach says, hey, Shannon, can you play shortstop? Shannon, can you play left field? Can you play center field? It just makes the player more accessible to go in there and do what he needs to do to help the team.
Yeah. In high school, you were a three-sport athlete. How did you maintain such a high level in high school in all your sports? Because I know, like in football, you had a chance in football. In track, you probably would have been a track superstar too. How did you maintain such a high level?
I was a kid that just had the drive, man. I really was into all kinds of sports. I love basketball, football. I like playing baseball. I love, and I just had a passion for it. And I did have the ability to be able to play the games. So when I was able to go to play football, my athletic ability made it easy for me to go out there and make the adjustment. The only thing is that, you have to work hard. My whole thing was staying focused on what I had to do, make good grades, make sure that I was doing the right thing. I just, sometimes as a kid, you get distracted, with whatever it is. It could be girls, it could be now video games, it could be other things that can draw your attention. But, if you stay focused, I was a focused kid. I just wanted to play ball, go home, do my homework, go sleep, get up the next day, play ball.
Right.
And you just gotta have that type of drive. And not all kids have it, but if you do, it makes it easier to jump from one sport to one sport because that's all you want to do.
Right. So out here in the Midwest, we have a lot of smaller schools, so kids have to play three sports. They're multiple sport athletes. How do you feel about multiple sport athletes? You think it's a good thing, bad thing? What do you think? I personally think it's a good thing, but what do you think?
I think it's a good thing because, not only is it good to do another sport to get your mind, if you play one sport year in, year out, you could get bored of it. I know if I did, I probably would be bored. I might not even play baseball. I was able to play football, basketball here and there. You know, soccer, started with soccer. So I wasn't just concentrating on one sport at a young age. You know, you concentrate on one sport at a young age, you know, you could get burnt out.
Right.
And then the thing is, when you play other sports, you can also, you develop other muscles, you know, like, for instance, you play soccer, footwork, quickness, you know, tennis, hand-eye coordination, you know, basketball, you're jumping, running, you know, good for the joints. All these other sports help you with the sport, you know, whatever sport you really concentrate on. It just helps your whole body movements.
Right. Well, like I said earlier, you know, you probably could end up going pro in the NFL too, and you got recruited by Florida State, and you had an opportunity to meet Bobby Bowden.
Yeah.
How was that?
Man.
How was that? Can you remember that?
I mean, you know, because when we grew up, it was Miami, Florida State. Those were two powerhouses. So, you know, Bobby Bowden coming down and recruit you, walks into your living room and, you know, introduce himself, you know, and talk to your mom and dad, and you're back in your mind like, man, that's Bobby Bowden. You know, this is the legend. You know?
Yeah.
You know, not only you're not thinking about playing, you just thinking about, man, this is Bobby Bowden. You know, this guy is the all-time, you know, one of all-time great college football coaches. So when a guy comes into your house like with that mystique and presence, you know, you're like in awe, you know. So I mean, that's one thing that I look back on. Just, you know, one of the things that just kind of like as a kid is like something that I'll never forget, because Bobby Bowden to me was one of the greatest football coaches I ever seen, you know. And I mean, that's just how it was, but growing up.
Right. Well, that's pretty cool. So in high school, like I said, how do you feel like your high school experience was when you were playing baseball and stuff like that? How did you feel about your high school experience?
I thought it was a good experience. You know, we had a lot of great players on my team. Guys got drafted. We went to state. We lost, but we went to the state finals. I played against Johnny Damon, who became a great MLB player, and I played against him in the major leagues. You know, our high school had a great field. You know, nice ballpark to come play at.
Yeah.
The school was a great school atmosphere with not only football prep rallies, but with just the whole, just being at the school. It was a great school back then. But I mean, the team was fun. Like, I had a lot of great memories. You know, I got a lot of good friends from those teams that were high school teams. Celeste Barsman and Cesar Serta. You were obviously on the team. Great guy. So I mean, he developed great relationships, and to this day. So, you know, my experience for high school was great. You know, I don't know if everybody had the same experience, but I was happy. You know, I was blessed to be on a great team and go to a good school.
I try to tell people here when you and I played, when I was telling people you were coming on the show, we went to California one year and we played Westminster in the championship. And I tried to explain to them we faced Alex Fernandez, Doug McCavich, A-Rod, the Caridad brothers, Mickey Lopez. There were, you were on the team. Adrian Antonini and Caesar. We had like 13 guys from those two teams get drafted. I try to explain that. That's amazing. What kind of level there was there. So, and here, trust me, there's some guys here back in that era too, where it's legit. There's some really good dudes here. But in high school, when you got done, coming out of high school, you got drafted in the first round, 19th pick overall by the Blue Jays. What was that day like for you?
You know, it was very nerve-wracking. I remember I was in school. I was projected to go, you know, late first round. Obviously, I was 19th pick, but it was, I think it was like the Mets. The Yankees were interested, the Reds, and Toronto. I remember Toronto was like one of the teams that each team have like a questionnaire that they want you to fill out, and the last like questionnaire, it was like about 100 questions they asked you. I filled out was the Blue Jays. And, you know, as a team from Canada, I never thought, by all means, out of all the teams, I wasn't thinking Toronto. I thought it was going to be a team in America. I wasn't thinking it was going to be a Canadian team. Yeah, it was crazy. So even though it was the Toronto Blue Jays, it was like, okay, Toronto Blue Jays is, as a team. I didn't even take them serious. So I remember coming out of, I got pulled out of class, and I think the counselor, hey, you just been drafted by the Blue Jays. My mom was there. I was like, Blue Jays, Toronto? I was like, yeah, it's Toronto. So I was like, man, man, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be, I don't know. Toronto, it's not New York, it's not Cincinnati. And it's not Baltimore, it's not the teams that I always dreamed about. Because growing up, Toronto wasn't even a factor, wasn't one of the teams. So anyway, getting drafted by them was a shell shock. But I must say, when I first went to Toronto and went up there, got called up, man, I didn't know anything about the city. Fell in love with the city, fell in love with the people, and fell in love with the country. It was probably the best place I could have ever played. Out of all 3 places I played, it was the best. I enjoyed it. Great time, great people, and I thank them so much for drafting me.
Well, you brought up you played in 3 places. You played with the Blue Jays, the Twins, the A's. Overall in your career, you hit .297 in 13 years, which is pretty damn impressive. You had 196 stolen bases. But in 2003, you were 4th in MVP race overall. In 98 and 99, you were 3rd and 4th in stolen bases. Your 2003 year, 4th in the MVP balloting. When you think about that, how does that make you feel?
I mean, it makes you feel good, especially that's the year it kind of started rocky for me. I got hurt, and then I was rumored to get traded, and I didn't get traded. I went home for the All-Star break, and then finally I got traded, and it was a shock because I was like, well, the GM told me maybe I'm getting traded. So I was kind of like mad in a way because they told me I wasn't gonna get traded, and I did get traded. And I was like, man, these people telling me something that it didn't happen, but now it's happening. But anyway, that's fine. And then I'm going to Minnesota where, out of all the teams, Minnesota was all right. It wasn't a great team. It was a team that was, they were talking about what it's called. They were gonna eliminate the team. I forgot what it's called, but they were talking about getting rid of Minnesota.
Downsizing?
Yeah, well, not downsizing. They're gonna probably move them to another
location.
Yeah, another location. So anyway, so I was like, man, I'm going to Minnesota. They're 7 games out of their division. I don't know how it's gonna be. I'll never forget my dad said, listen, man, you go over there, you play like you normally play. You be in the States, you might get more recognized. Just go out there and play your game. Don't worry about I know you had love for Toronto, but it's a business. Go out there and play your game and play hard. You never know, good things can happen. I went over there and just played my game. And man, the funny thing is my first game, I was 0 for 5. And I'll never forget it, And I remember people saying, oh, we need to get Bobby Kelty back. That's what I got traded for. Bobby Kelty, we got you for Bobby Kelty. And I'm like, in my mind, I said, yeah, you got me with Bobby Kelty. I'm sorry. First game was terrible. But, man, after that, man, I got it going. And, man, once I got it going, it just took off. You
were the leadoff hitter on that team.
Just like playing in Toronto, but I was in Minnesota.
Right, but you were the leadoff hitter on that team, right?
I was the leadoff hitter.
Well, you hit .307 with 13 home runs and 73 RBIs at a leadoff spot. That's pretty damn good. Those are like Ricky Henderson numbers right there, baby. So speaking of that, in your 3 years or your 13 years that you played in 3 different teams, who are some of the favorite players that you played with? And it don't have to be like superstars, but guys that you really enjoyed playing with.
Torrey Hunter. But I enjoyed playing with Torrey Hunter. Great teammate, man. One of the greatest teammates I played with. Torrey, a guy Doug McCabbage, growing up with him. A guy named Orlando Hudson, all-star second baseman for Toronto and went to the Dodgers. A guy by the name of Carlos Delgado, great player. Jose Cruz Jr. So I had a few guys that I just, were really good teammates, man. And we connected, and to this day, we're still good friends. Jock Jones, I mean, there's a bunch of guys, and there's a bunch of guys that I played against that are really tight. Like Rondell White, he became one of my teammates. I played against him all these years, but we're really tight, man. He lives in Fort Lauderdale, 45 minutes, and I see him all the time. And, you know, he's like a brother to me. So you get some guys that you really, really have great relationships with. Then you got guys that, the good thing is, like, when I go around here, like I run into El Duque, I've seen Posada, Joe Pinero. A lot of these guys live around the corner from me. And when you see each other, you know, you say hello and you start talking because it's like a fraternity, man. You know, everybody, Big Poppy, been over here, he lives around the corner from me. So you develop these relationships. And when you see each other, it's like, oh, man, how you doing? You know, it's
Right.
somewhat like, man, it's like a brotherhood.
It's funny you didn't mention one pitcher. That's all good. So what advice would you give to parents with youth players? What kind of advice would you tell parents about how to treat baseball for youth?
Well, I would tell the parents to, you know, enjoy the experience with your kid. Just, you know, make sure he's having fun. Now, I see a lot of parents that are kind of pushing their kids because everybody thinks their kid's going to be the next you know, the next big play, the next big superstar. I mean, the thing is that, you know, when I played, I played for the love of the game. I just love playing. I love to compete, you know. I mean, I put pressure on myself because, you know, I always wanted to be good. And when I didn't do well, you know, I was upset. But with that being said, I had a lot of fun playing with my teammates. My parents never put pressure on me. You know, I see some kids where the parents put pressure on them, and, you know, when they don't do well, it's like, man, you know, I go back and listen to my dad talk to me. My kids, my daughters play travel basketball, and at first I used to be like, oh man, I used to be on her because I know she could do a lot better. But then, you know what? I said, you know what? Back up. Let me back off her and just let her play. Let her enjoy the game.
Right.
Believe it or not, now she's like asking me for help and she wants to do well. And I backed off because I just say, you know what? She doesn't have the same drive I have. She doesn't have that mentality, but she's a good player. But maybe she'll develop it, or maybe she won't, you know, but everybody's different. So you just gotta just kind of let your kid be them.
Right.
And then, you know, once you see what kind of kid you might have a kid that wants to be, you know, wants to be the best, wants to do extra hitting, wants extra lessons. And, you know, then you got to provide that for them because you want your kid to excel. Or you might have a kid that's laid back and wants to do lessons here and there, but it's good. He's a good player, but you know what? You just let him do that. And then every now and then you say, listen, you know, if you practice, you know, a little more, you could be that much better. Then they might get it. You know, you just got to kind of just see where your kid is.
Okay. That's some good advice. What do you tell high school kids going into high school, how they should treat it? Because, you know, everybody has that dream of being a major leaguer. But I try to tell them, you know, my job is to help them get into college. I want to, you know, guide them along the way because that's important. But what do you suggest to a high school player? What should they do?
Well, same thing I would tell the high school player to, you know, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Go out there, play the game, have fun with it. I know it's hard too because you're trying to excel and be the best you can, but sometimes you got to have fun with it and just let it come. And then, you know, at the same time, you know, just work on your weaknesses, work on you know, your things that you feel you need to improve on. You know, each year you come in, you know, if you need to work on your hitting, work on your hitting. The next year, if you're fielding subpar, work on your fielding. So you can have your whole game to the point to where it's solid. You want to be solid in every area. And then on top of that, you know, think the game through. You know, think about certain situations before they happen. You know, the ball's hit to me. I'm in the outfield, the ball's hit to me, and I cut it off. I can't throw the guy out at third. Let me throw it to second to hold the runner to first base, you know? So he won't be in scoring position. So to keep the double play in order. You know, little things you got to do. You know, for a pitcher, you know, the last time the guy hit a curveball, you know, took me deep with a curveball. Let me bust him on the fastball. Let me think. You know, learn from mistakes. Learn certain situations. Make the game easier. Because I mean, I'll tell you what. When I was playing, and I tell everybody this, listen, I would think the game through. You know, like, man, if I go up there and the guy's busting me in and jam me, you know, I'm not. First of all, I'm gonna lay off the inside pitch. But if I do, I'm gonna look for it and pull it, yank it down the line. The next, you know, he's ready for it. And they're probably gonna come a middle away, then come away, something away, curveball. They'll change it up because they don't want. The fear is like, man, he was on that pitch.
Right.
You know, make it just adjusting. The whole thing is adjusting.
Mm-hmm. As you get older, it's game. As younger kids, it's game to game to make adjustments. As you get older, it becomes, you know, a bat to a bat, pitch to pitch. Especially at your level, you know, you got to make adjustments pitch to pitch. So that's some good advice right there. So what does Shannon do now? Now that he's retired from Major League Baseball, sitting at home with his 3 kids and wife, what does Shannon do now?
Man, Shannon is trying to enjoy life, but it's hard because Shannon's family, we got 2 dogs. So those are like, they became my responsibilities. So each morning I got to walk the dogs, make sure they fed before I start my day. Like I said, I got 3 kids. I'm involved with homework. I'm involved with transportation. I mean, now with the COVID, we're more, everybody's pretty much at home, but, you know, my daughter's still playing basketball, so I'm still driving back and forth. And I got 2 kids that are going to school, and I got one that stays home. So it's kind of like back and forth with that. Mm-hmm. Every now and then I bought a road bike, so I'm doing a lot of cycling now. I'm golfing. I'm trying to get my golf game up. Golfing at least twice a week. Well, once a week right now, but I was trying to go twice a week, and then COVID hit, so now it's kind of just to once a week.
Right.
Social distancing and stuff. But I mean, man, that's it, man. You know, run down, see my mom on the weekends. She lives down in Palmetto Bay, and just trying to stay healthy, man, and just trying to deal with these crazy times. So,
right.
You know, I'm doing these Zoom calls here and there. I was involved with the Toronto Bluejays. I do stuff with the team. I was going up there about 3 times a year doing charity events. They have a Winter Fest when they promote the team. And now they're going to do it this year, which is going to be through Zoom. But, I mean, that's it, man. Just kicking it back and just trying to enjoy my getting old. That's it.
Well, before we end this interview, do you have anything you would like to say to everybody as far as anything baseball related wise for kids for the game?
I would tell the kids to, you know, have fun. If you're serious, work hard. Work on what you feel you need to work on. Listen to your coaches. You know, try to watch games, and when you're watching games, try to pick things up. You know, see what the pros are doing, or even watching college baseball. They do some good things out there. Try to just, you know, envision yourself in certain situations before they happen. You know, visualize yourself doing great things on the baseball field. Always the most important thing. Always have confidence. You know, confidence is the big thing, because, you know, if you don't have confidence, you don't have anything. You know,
right.
Like when I was a kid, I was very confident. I believed that I was gonna achieve and do well, succeed. I didn't think that anybody was better, but, you know, I always wanted to face the best. Even in the big leagues, I wanted to face the Yankees. I wanted to face Pedro Martinez, Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson. I wanted to face the best, because, you know, my mentality is, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Right.
And, you know, there's no sense of being scared. That's what it's all about. So don't ever be afraid of competition. Don't ever be afraid of of somebody who's supposed to be, you know, if you're going up against a pitcher, somebody that throws hard, don't ever be afraid. Go out there, go after them, give it your best, and just know that you're here, and you're going to be dealt with. You know, like they're going to be dealt with. They're going to talk about me. They're going to talk about them. So be confident and go out there and enjoy yourself.
Well, that's some good advice, Shannon. And again, I appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know you got to get running and go see your daughter play basketball. Hopefully she gets the dub. Yep, I understand. And it was great to talk to you and great to see you again. Again, thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, no problem, man. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're doing well. And tell Amy to say hello.
I will. And that concludes this week in baseball player profiles.